Hey there, this is Natalie, and I wanted to thank you for checking out To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. I am very excited because recently I celebrated the podcast's first birthday. And what better way to celebrate than to try and build up this community of tolerators and gather them all in one space? To do that, I launched our Patreon where you can make a monthly contribution to the podcast and get some amazing benefits like early access to episodes, ad-free episodes, some virtual hangout time with me and other tolerators, and other ways to really allow us to get to know one another. Any support that you can give to the podcast will be so helpful in the second year to help me elevate the content and grow our community. There is a link in the show notes that contains all the information you need to help the podcast grow. I love and appreciate every one of you. Happy birthday, Team Tolerator. Hey tolerators, this is To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with Natalie Katona, the show where my guest and I chat about living in a world that isn't set up to support anyone but men. Today's guest is my good friend Marchea. Her and I are currently working together and have a thing or two to say about working for men and why we've decided we're getting out of it. We're also going to be talking about how we've empowered ourselves through entrepreneurship. Thank you for being here, Marchea.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Marchea has become a bright spot in the darkness that is working for capitalism. All right. So, Marchea, why don't you give the listeners kind of a brief overview of what you've told me your business goals are so people kind of get a feel for what you're trying to do.
Okay. Well, my name is Marchea. I'm from Cincinnati. I'm from like a small, suburban rural area. And I've been working pretty much since I was 17. But I knew right then and there at age 17, I know I didn't want to work for anybody. Only because I just had to go reapply back and everything. And I just felt as if, well, if you all still have my information, why do I have to, reapply? Or why is it that I really much have to do anything? So even for one of my second jobs that I had, application process is so freaking long for no reason. I mean, I get it. It's like, I get it, they want to have background information or whatever, but like packets and pages and stuff, I could say 3 pages is max is good for a application. The first page is dealing with who you are, just like front and back, but then that last page has to deal with your resume. So all of extra pages and all that, like, no, I just feel it's unnecessary because I'm just filling out the application. I don't have the job yet. So once I get the job, that's when I fill out those packets. That's when I go toward, the care that you guys have, that businesses may have, like healthcare and everything like that. And I can see that. But other than that, I don't see as a wish of why the application process has to be so long.
I honestly feel like we've somehow made it longer through technology instead of easier. Like people used to mail in their resume and their letter of intent, and that was it. Or you would show up at a bunch of businesses, like you take your day hitting the pavement and handing out pieces of paper. And it got to be that one piece of paper and then your letter of intent. And then we got the internet and people are like, well, I'll take your resume, but I want you to also type out all of this information. And now people want you to take like aptitude tests and videos of yourself and all of it. And it's just like, you're not paying me enough to do this. You're not.
Honestly, it's like, you know your work ethic. You know what you bring to the table. So I feel as if I know exactly what I can bring to the table for a business. But then it makes me think too, like, well, what can I bring to the table to start my own business? I already know I have the drive, motivation, self-motivation at that. I already know that I have the skills within myself and marketing, and I can trust myself. But it's more so just taking that leap to getting started. Like entrepreneur, I want to say on the outside looking in before I actually tend to step into this role, it's different only because this is everything on your time.
Right.
It's really just like how I came to college. This is my life. This is what I'm doing. You know, I make my own class schedule. I wake up, go to sleep. If I choose to go to class, if I choose to eat, and that's on me. So I'm choosing now, as far as entrepreneurship, I'm choosing to make those business calls, get in contact with the getting in contact with a connector or networker or anything of that sort to help me. So that's like me even finding like a consistent vendor,
Right.
me staying, and even once I get my website going, once, you know, I really have my business up and moving, it's like, okay, so how are you going to maintain that?
Right.
You know, from like business expos to, you know, keeping up with social media. Social media is a big platform now for businesses. It just depends on the social media network that you're choosing. So everybody knows Instagram, Twitter, TikTok is becoming one of the biggest social media platforms. It is honestly right because most business owners are taking that next step into using something different. Whereas back then we had the Vine, we had Dub Smash, we had you know, other things that, you know, we had back then. Okay, now this is this new generation. This is TikTok.
Right.
So now we're jumping into their generation. That okay, well on our end, it's for a different purpose. So I from TikTok to Twitter to Instagram to even Facebook. It's so many outlets that entrepreneurs can use, even businesses can use, but it's all how you maintain that.
I know in like the stand-up comedy world that there's a lot of now ownership on your content, and there's a lot of ownership of your brand because we have so many outlets for social media now. Like there's nothing easier than to show something that I've made on TikTok for 10 seconds for someone who has bad impulse control like I do to be like, oh, I need those earrings, and then to find your link and whatnot. It used to not be that way. You had to rely on like Target picking up your stuff or connections through strip malls or things like that, or even like bookers and agents and PR people. And now people are just like really finding that like we get to own, like you said, our time. When I was younger, I never thought that I would be able to live the hustle lifestyle. Like it freaked me the fuck out. Because like my family talked about like owning a small business, being an actress, being a creator or an artist of some sort. They were like, well, you're just poor and miserable. Like you do all of this work to make no money. And now you see that people are like really the champions of their own success at this point.
Honestly. And I definitely agree with that whole statement, because when you take that next leap into anything, you have to have that drive. Like honestly, I love the hustle. Like I the job that I have is a hustle for me. It's just now I'm growing in so many ways in a business aspect because I've always viewed myself as a businesswoman. So I feel now like with the job I have now with being a recruiter, I feel like that's one of my hustles because I get a student to come to school.
Right.
Some people view as, you know, hustles always is under the table or no, it's what you make.
Right.
Just because it's so known to know that people hustle under the table, that's good too. I can say I can hustle under the table, but what if I want to make my hustle that's under the table with dropping, you know, clothing brand or modeling or photography, everything that I want to do, I could literally turn that around and make that into my own. I've always had 2 jobs. And I literally said, my mom and my dad always told me to have one main job, and then you have your side hustle. Well, all I know is that I'm always gonna keep one form of income, and then the next form of income I want to have is going to be my own. So I'm taking those necessary steps to put in the work to do what I want to do to become that entrepreneur. Because I'm tired of working for people. Right. I'm not gonna lie. Because I know what I can bring to the table and I know I can appreciate myself more. It's just that freedom. Like that amount of freedom that I'd have. Not saying I don't have that freedom, But it's like a 9 to 5. That's good to have. Don't get me wrong. That is great to have because that's your stable form of income for right now. But if I have two stable forms of income for right now, that's dealing with entrepreneurship, a goal that I set to have. Why not go for it?
Right.
Why not goal that you had really set for yourself?
See, and I think that's like one of the ways that we were raised or brought up different is in my family who came from people who had to hustle and have a bunch of jobs or whatever. It was a point of pride for my parents to be like, well, no, we only need one income. And it can be either an income through my dad and he supports us while my mom's raising us, or just both of them having single jobs. So I grew up like thinking, well, if you need two jobs, you're not doing something right. And then I also grew up thinking that if you are an entrepreneur, that you're just kind of like free falling and there's no like rhyme or reason to anything that you're doing. And because I'm so type A, I'm like, no, I need rules and regulations and a schedule and whatever. And I've always felt like I need someone to oversee it. And then with the podcast and the live stream, I realized, well, I can set rules and regulations for myself and a schedule for myself. I mean, you kind of saw my process with my guest emails and reaching out and pitching people. I have all of these systems that I myself created set in place. And if I could shift away from the 9 to 5 lifestyle, I could run this all on my own and get stuff done. But also, if I get a headache at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's fine for me to take a nap. Like, I'm tired because it happened this week. I'm tired of sitting at a table with a headache and being like, well, and you just have to count down until 5 because it's like no one cares about how you feel or if you're at your best self. Like 9 to 5 is 9 to 5.
Honestly, and for sure that's what you need to survive as of right now. Some people are still living in that survival mode where certain things they got to do just to help them survive. I can say I'm still living in survival
right,
and I can't wait where I don't have to live to survive. Now I can live. Now I can actually live. I've always known, like I said, I've always known I wanted to work for myself. But it was like, what was those necessary steps for me to do that, and how would I do that? Well, for one, I had to start believing in myself. That's for sure. You have to believe in yourself. Like, honestly, when you watch Peter Pan, and when they say you can believe you can fly, you have to have faith, trust, and pixie dust. I literally feel as if I have to have that faith, that trust, and just a little bit of pixie dust. But only it's just the pixie dust is me believing in myself. So I gotta have that faith and that trust in myself that I know I can do it. That little pixie dust is the beliefs. So if you have that faith, you trust in yourself, and you believe in yourself, then I promise you 9 times out of 10 it'll become so much easier. Right. No more doubt or anything. No more thinking like, "Dag, I actually need this 9 to 5 to survive." Actually, you don't. You need it to survive as of right now. Yes, definitely. I will keep that 9 to 5 to continue stacking my bread. I will continue that 9 to 5 to stack my bread. So when that time comes, that's it. That's it, and that's all. That is going to be the most, I think the most peaceful moment is to know that I have really stepped out of corporate America and started to actually believe in my dreams and work for myself. And I know I'm going to be successful. That's the thing. As long as you know and you have that faith in yourself, I know I am, because honestly, if we look at it now, who are the most, people that you see being that's a salesperson? 9 times out of 10 is going to be a woman. Sometimes, especially in real estate or anything, because we know how to sell. Not saying a man doesn't, but a woman can get the job done. No lie. A woman can actually get the job done. But it's like we look at it as, I don't want to do this. Or sometimes I don't want to do this whole time. Actually, this is just helping build you up. I look at people in real estate as great salespeople, because they are taking them steps to actually use marketing to 110%. I was a marketing major. I was a business management major with a double concentration in marketing. And I love marketing. It's nothing like literally handling business and marketing off and then knowing that you can reap the benefits of what you do.
What do you think it is
That,
about our current work environment, or even like the work environments we've had to live in the past? Like, what are some of the key turnoffs? Like, what makes it about this year where you're like, no, I'm so done with this?
I can say the environment.
Mm-hmm.
I would, if your work environment is good, your business will thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if it's peaceful and if it's one strong person that can lead, your work environment is going to be great. Your team is behind you 100%. You know, it's like a boss's team is always going to be behind them, like their staff is. But you have to take that lead into becoming an actual boss and an actual leader so your staff can actually follow you and continue to promote success and fully succeed in the business. So I feel it's all about the work environment, the workspace.
And right now we don't have it.
And that's where you're going,
Yeah.
like from 9 to 5, majority of my day in an office.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure my office is going to be my safe space, even though I feel like the overall workspace isn't it. But as long as I can make sure my office space is my peace, my, place of living from that 9 to 5, then I'm going to make sure of it. When I'm out, recruiting, doing what I have to do, I'm going to make sure that area is going to be my space. Because this is where I'm going for about 2 or 3 hours, making sure I'm admitted to college or helping them,
Right. Well, and
I've really.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was just saying, I was just really feel with the environment. Go ahead.
And right now we really don't have any, and we are smart, intelligent women, and we have 4 to 5. I can't, because some of us leave and then some of us come back. We have 4 other really smart, intelligent women on our team. And at this point, we don't have a voice and we have no control over what our environment looks like from 9 to 5. And whenever we do voice concerns, or we do say like, hey, I noticed that we were trying to do this event this way. I noticed that no one showed up. Do you think that we need to change that, instead of being like, oh, let's sit down and talk about that? Because you're right. I don't want your time wasted. We get a lot of lip service. We get well, no one was supposed to show up for this event. You just needed to be accessible in case someone did have to show up. But the fact that no one showed up and you sat at an empty gym or room all day long waiting for people to show up actually means that I did do my job and our process is working. No, it doesn't. That's not what the numbers show. That's not what the numbers show. And it's just that constant, like, I feel currently under our male leadership, there's not a lot of accountability and there's not a lot of self-reflection. So anything that comes out of our mouth is viewed as an attack. And then they have to take out an hour of our time to be like, well, this is why I'm great. And why don't you just get on board with that? And it doesn't have to be all of them, but most of the women in my life just do a better job naturally of receiving feedback, because we've always had to receive feedback on our looks and all of it. And then like reflecting on what we need to do next.
Yeah. Accountability is a sickness that nobody can honestly deal with. Like, that's a level of that comes when you really have a clear headspace and you know what you did is wrong and you can say what I did is wrong. So now I'm going to look at it like, okay, the boss can sit here and say, okay, I did that. Like, I was wrong, or this isn't working out. So team, how do we perfect this? Instead of saying, yeah, I can do it. And then when somebody actually voices their opinion or voices something, you don't use it. Whereas if I do voice it and my staff says, I'm in a meeting with my staff and saying, oh, we can do this better. We can do this better. Okay, let's do it. Let's implement those tasks. Like, let's do it. If there's anything that doesn't succeed, definitely. So,
because I can take my ego out of it, because I don't want to put out shitty work. at the end of the day. I don't want to put out shitty work at the end of the day. So if you have an idea that can elevate what it is I'm doing, why would I just tell you that I'm already perfect? That's not how we grow a business.
And that ego is a terrible drug too. Like ego, I had to kill my ego because I struggled with ego. Like I had a big ego issue. Like I wanted to be viewed as, well, from what I saw, like a woman do everything, strong black woman, everything like that. No, I'm tired of a strong black woman role. I'm tired of just the strong role. No, how about we change that to a sophisticated, successful woman?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm tired of them trying to put on like the woman is supposed to be so strong. I'm done.
Right.
Like now I'm like, where is a man that can lead? Where is someone that can walk in my life and lead? Like that's all I care about because I know I'm a leader.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like us as women, I swear, like we know we are capable of so many things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we carry a child for 9 months and still snap back and still do the daggone thing. That's how I know we know. But that whole strong woman persona and everything, you're strong. No matter what, you're going to be strong. No matter what, even in the moments you may feel weak, you're going to be strong. But sometimes you don't need to, because that comes off as too independent, too strong. You, like, that can really tie into intimidation, which that deals with another person, though. That doesn't have any. But after a while, you got to really look at it like, okay, why are you this way, though? Like, why do you feel you are this way? If honestly, that's why I couldn't even start anything, because I had a big ego issue. Now I could care less how people view me.
Yeah.
Stripping down every day of who you once was. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, once you take that step into knowing what you want and who you want to go for, and at the end of the day, you know it's for yourself, that ego's strict. You ain't for yourself.
I had a fear of failure. That's what keeps me from doing things. A fear of looking foolish, a fear of proving people in my life right, that I am childish or I am dramatic or I don't have what it takes to do anything because I'm just a fun time girl. And I know that has a lot to do with my pride and my ego too. Yes. And when it comes to your point of the strong woman and even the strong Black woman, I would like the narrative to change from, because when I think of strength within women, I think that we are always defined by our strength because of what we've had to endure. Mm-hmm. And instead of my strength coming from all of the shit that I've had to go through and all of the shit that I've had to sit through because I am a woman, because you are a Black woman, I would love it if instead the narrative was my strength comes from what I've built for myself.
And yeah, my strength comes from what I built, and that honestly can come from within, because I built that up to build me up. Even though if I could have been knocked down like 10 times, that one last time, I really built myself up to not fall anymore, to actually keep going and keep pushing. You honestly will be strong when you feel you're so weak. When you feel like you can't keep going, that's the moment you actually keep going. Because look at it like this. It's like, if you give up, it's like, how do you give up? Well, you give up when you go back. Yeah. You just honestly wipe out of all the transformation, all the strength you've endured, everything. The moment you slip back into what you were before, that's when you give up. That's exactly when you give up. Because it's like all this work you done put into this whole new person you have really become, and it's been, an amazing process, even though it's been crazy, but it's just one thing that could snap back, and that's it.
And I think when I think of myself as a strong woman, or when I look at the other strong women in my family or in my life, so much of my strength, or let's take my grandmother, for example. So much of my grandmother's strength was defined by shit that was out of her control. Like, my grandpa died when my mom was 16 years old. She had 4 kids that she had to raise on her own. She also had a bunch of family members outside of our core family that also needed aid and assistance that my grandma would help with. And it doesn't dilute the fact that Grandma Peg was such a strong woman who still comes to visit me from the great beyond because that's how strong her spirit was. But it almost is like she had to prove herself by going outward with her strength instead of just getting to build something for herself and being proud of that. And I feel like that's how it happens all the time in fucking Game of Thrones. How do you make a woman strong in Game of Thrones? You sexually assault her, and then you see if she handles it stoically and without crying. And if she does, that means that she was strong and she gets to be the leader of the North.
That was within the House of Targaryen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's and you know the new one that's coming out, House of the Dragon.
Uh-huh.
I feel as if that I love to see a good sequel at that because it was actually a great backstory between the House of Targaryen and how they were the House of Dragons and everything. So to see that their sequel is going and performing, all you can see is the women. Like, I ain't gonna lie, she was fierce. Mm-hmm. She was fierce because she believed in herself. She believed in herself even after her man had died. She still kept going.
Right.
Because she knew she had to lead. She knew that. See, there is not a problem with leaders. There's not a problem with leadership. People who know they can lead can lead. Mm-hmm. It's the moment where, okay, well, how will I continue to maintain being a leader? Whereas if I just have the name of the leader, okay, well, what is a leader? Like, we really have to sit down and really ask ourselves, what is a true leader? Someone that will keep going no matter what. No matter what. Mm-hmm. If it's hard, if it's tough, they will keep going. The fact that she didn't even know anything about dragons. She didn't know anything about what she was doing. But that built her up into becoming something so different. I definitely admire her strength. So when I literally see Game of Thrones, and I've watched all 8 seasons, all episodes.
Me too.
I just viewed as if like some of the women in there was dope, mm-hmm. and even the men in there was dope. Like when the dad died, he died for honor. Mm-hmm. Like died for honor. Whereas when Joffrey died, well, that was his karma. Mm-hmm. That was his karma because he mistreated. He didn't know how to. He wanted to be king so bad. Okay, well, when you were trying to take a step into being leadership, okay, well, a king leads. Mm-hmm. Joffrey was still a boy. He wants to be a king so bad. He wants to become a man so bad. Like, okay, we're going to tap into Disney then. Brother Bear, how he became a man, becoming a bear. He was a boy. Mm-hmm. Like, and the fact that he ran into Coda, it was amazing because it's like, okay, this is a person that walks into my life right now to help me become a leader. And Kenai became that man. His brother passed. His brother did that to show him like, hey, you grow. Like, this is what's going to happen. You want to become a man so bad? All right, boom. Here you go. Here's something that you can become a man. Well, how do I do it? He kept going. Even the death of his brother kept going.
And I think there's also this mindset, and I don't know if it was imparted on you when you were younger, but I talk about it a lot on the show. And it's almost like when I think of myself as owning my own brand or like making my own money or doing my own thing, there's almost like well, what gives you the right? Or like, well, who told you could take up this much space? Especially, I'm going to name drop because I'm still hyped about it. Like yesterday, when I decided to talk to Mark Cuban from Shark Tank and ask him a question. My initial thought was, you don't know nothing about business to be talking to Mark Cuban. But then I also thought to myself, well, you're never going to know anything about business if you don't talk to the people who don't know it.
So you try, you did
right. It. And that's basically when I asked him, like, how do I make sure that I take this opportunity that you handed me and I make success out of it? That's what he told me. He's like, you need to grind. You need to make those connections. And he goes, and then when you have those connections, you need to make sure that you ask them what they can offer you. Because if you sit around and never ask for the offer, you're never getting an offer.
Hey, creepy people. This is P&W Haunts and Homicides. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Cassie.
Together, we explore stories of the paranormal and true crime throughout the Pacific Northwest. We're just two normal-ish friends who wanted more creepy, local stories. Our episodes start with a tarot reading to help us gain some insight on each topic as we share the facts of the case and our interpretations.
Come join us. We've got plenty of wine, laughs, and stories to share.
You can find our episodes featuring true stories from infamous as well as lesser-known true crime cases, like the murders in Tunnel 13 and Forest Park,
as well as our spooky stories from Pike Place and the Oregon Vortex on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and many more.
For all of you that are listening, if you have any true crime or paranormal stories that you want us to share, email us at pnwhauntsandhomicides@gmail.com.
Have a creepy ass day.
And I think when I think about the women in my family, a lot of our attitude is like, well, I'll just make my own way and I'll make this work on my own and through my own brain and through my own soul, because you can't count on nobody else.
That's where that, because I have the same thing. Like it was the woman doing everything in my home, taking trash. Even my mom was cutting the grass before she couldn't do it anymore. My grandpa had took over cutting the grass. Like, I think my mom wanted to show us strength, but strength comes from within. And that's what I had to grow up realizing. Like, my mom doing everything. Okay, well, I saw the woman do everything. So, of course, it's like monkey see, monkey do. It's what I saw. Back then, in my mind, I was still in the subconscious mind. I wasn't in my full conscious mind as I grew older. Like, that's what people have to understand, too. Kids are still in a subconscious mind. So, I'm sitting here seeing my mom doing something. Okay, so I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. My mom did everything. Whereas, no, it's okay to step back. So I had to drop that wall. And I promise, once I started letting that guard down, so much started coming. More of the entrepreneurship wanted to come into me and wanted to just set forth. It's like I'm not there yet, but I'm way closer than what I was way beforehand, because I actually took that step and let that guard down into thinking, well, I could do everything. No, you can't. You can't. If somebody literally can do everything, please let me know and give me the scoop on how to do it, because I'm tired. Like, I can't do everything up under the sun. Like, you don't have that strength. Like, all heroes don't wear capes. All heroes do not wear capes. Like, everybody just want to be, wants to be a superhero. Well, superheroes, they have that super strength. Honestly, I wish I had that super strength. But after a while, though, too strong, it can really turn you into being cold, because you just feel you're too strong. You can't open up. You can't do anything. You're always to yourself. No, you have to bring it to a softer side. Once that softer side hits, because, I mean, women, we're nurturing. Like, we are nurturing. We can't help that. That's like our second nature. So the moment where you let that guard down, it's like everything can walk right into your life. And it's just like, dang, I remained this way for so long. What changed? I let that guard down. You don't have to be too strong. Like, It's okay to be strong, but, bro, it's okay to step back and be a woman. Like, you don't always have to want to step in and be like a dominant woman. Like, I don't know. I just feel as if I felt like I just knew everything. So hard-headed, knew everything. Life took me by surprise. Oh, you think you know everything? You don't know a thing. And boom.
Well,
felt like I got hit.
I think that speaks to that if you are hard-headed and you already have the belief that, like, I either have to do this on my own or it doesn't matter, or I will do this on my own because I know everything, it closes you off, and then the universe won't bring you the people that you need. And you and I talk a lot about how, like, I mean, fuck this job. We got a job, but who needs it? But it's the connection that you and I have built, and the connection that you and our female coworkers have built. That's what we're actually getting out of the job, is a support system.
Honestly. And I feel support is so big. Like, our main boss, he supports us 100%. Like, who we go to, who we talk to, he supports us. It's just more so on us believing that person can support us because it's already, a whole bunch of other things going on. Support goes a long way with me. I know for a fact. Support goes a long way with me. And if I support you, I'm not expecting that to be back because not everybody's support lifestyle is different. But I know for me, support is big. And that's one thing I'm always big on because it's always good to have someone in your corner. And that literally came with how I was raised too. Like how I was raised was a blessing and a curse to how I view it. There are some things I wish I didn't take over into my adulthood and now I got to just deal with. And then there are some things that I can't say, like, I'm glad that I have this quality, but I have to tone it down or I have to fix it or I have to just, get it. Because most of the women in my family, they're very dominant, like true dominant women. Like, and I can't do that. I can't be up to that standard anymore. I know that for a fact. I'm okay to step back and just go on my own way, finding the support that I know I can get from others to help me keep going. Like, I'm glad I have self-motivation, but it's better to actually have people around you that can support you, where you don't always feel like you're alone, where you always don't have to feel like you're alone. Because honestly, you're not alone. You're never alone. You always have people. It's your mindset, and your mindset is a dangerous thing. Your mind can be a dangerous thing in a good way and a bad way.
Well, because think about how our mindset could have been differently about my podcast and your modeling and your future hat line. If you and I had just gone into it being like, oh, this is going to be a cute hobby that we do, and we never ask for money on it or whatever. Not that hobbies are a bad thing. We all know I love to collect hobbies. But it's different when your hobby actually becomes your passion and then becomes what you want to do with your life. So if my mindset was, this will be cute and no one will listen to it and I'll just talk into a microphone and I don't take myself seriously, then why would anyone reach out to me for an opportunity?
Honestly. Like, those people that reach out to you or those people that really talk to you, they actually see something in you and they want to help you. Now it's the difference if you want to allow that person to help you along your journey. Like, people are placed in your life at any point in your time to help build you up in this journey. But it's up to you if you're going to allow them. And I feel like if you feel like you're just too headstrong, your ego in the way, oh no, I can do this. Nah, you can't. So are you going to allow someone to come in and actually finally help you? Or are you going to sit back and continue to live the old same lifestyle that you had?
Yeah.
It's like it's so many viewpoints, but at the end of the day, it's all your decision. And this is the point of life that nobody tells you about. The moment that you want to decide to finally live for you, live the lifestyle that you want, build that lifestyle. It's different. It is so uncomfortable and it's so weird. But once you get to that lifestyle that you see for yourself, it's going to be one of the best things to ever see it. Like, that's why you go so hard with your podcast, because honestly, it's going places. It's going places. There's a reason why me and you met, and we finally decided to get it up and running with me being on here. Like, it's a reason why, like you said, certain people are met in your life. It's a reason for everything, and it's just that stepping stone that you took. Like, hey, well, maybe I can get this person on here. Maybe I can finally talk with this person on here and see like what type of crowd they bring out and see what type of exposure can I have. Now you're setting up those goals. Now you're setting into that goal that you have for yourself. Now that you tap into that person, okay, everybody brings different crowds of people, different target audiences. So you don't know who could be listening that I could post the link of.
Right.
And then boom, get discovered. That's simple. Like, you never know who somebody knows, or even when you post it, you never know who could be listening. It's just a level of you actually taking that step, and you did it. And you started taking that step the moment you started this podcast. The moment you started this podcast is when you knew and you wanted to take it far. Okay, well then you started developing a better business plan, mission statement. What is the vision? Who is my main target audience? Who am I, going toward? Who am I gearing this toward? And the moment those questions started going in your mind, that's how you knew you wanted more. That's how you knew you wanted more out of life. So you started it. Now it's all about maintaining it and keeping it going. And that's the thing. That's what's wrong with certain businesses too. People start the business, but they don't maintain it. They don't keep it going. They don't keep their viewers. They don't keep their audiences. They don't keep it. They just start it and then they fall off. You started this podcast. You kept going. You keep reaching out to whoever so they can help you. Because watch, in a minute, you got that hustle. Because in a minute, you going to get discovered. At the end of the day, that's like a boy playing basketball. He working night, working day and night, playing on the basketball team, really hustling, really doing that. He finally goes out for a position. Boom, he got it. He kept believing in himself. No, one of the greatest superstars, they failed. Failure, I have a fear of failure too. But I feel like you have to fail in order to succeed.
And I think that's not what we're taught with when we're kids. And I think that's a trap of the 9-to-5, because our society is built around instant gratification now. And we grew up when instant gratification became like at your fingertips with these cell phones and all of it. So with a 9-to-5, I can sit at a desk for hours knowing at the end of the day, I'm going to make the same paycheck that I made last month than that I made the day before. And that's fine. And it's very comfortable. No one tells you that the things that you actually want out of life, it's okay for them to feel like work. And it's okay to actually be working towards them and for it to take a long time. I get into that head trap all the time where I'm like, I should be further, or this doesn't matter because I'm not doing A, B, or C. And then one of my friends will be like, you've only been doing this for a year and someone asked you to literally do a second show. You're already on your second show. And I think that's one of the downfalls of our society is like we stifle creativity because we instill in young people everything should be easy or else it's too much hard work to be doing it.
And nobody wants to work anymore. Mm-hmm. Everybody to be fed a silver spoon. I feel like if it comes easy in life, it's not worth it. But if you work for it, that's how you know it's worth it. Because you're working for it. And anybody knows that if you're working for it, it's going to be worthwhile. Like it's going to be long lasting. If anything came easy to me, I hate that I always have to work for something, but I mean, it builds character. Like it shows you like you're really just in this life to really make a difference. So you're going to work for it. It's that simple. Like when I went to the high school yesterday and we had awarded, the scholarship. Well, those kids worked for that. They did what they had to do. And it was amazing because they were so happy. This one kid, he was like, I didn't even know that I was getting money for this, or I didn't even expect, because when I last visited them, half of them didn't even want to apply. Half of them were sitting there just chilling. But the moment they knew that they wanted better for their life, they took that step and they did it. The fact that they got awarded, dude couldn't even believe it. I'm like, you did it though.
Yeah.
You actually did it.
What do you think when it comes to us being women who want to be in business ourselves? What are you worried about when it comes to the gatekeepers that are misogyny and the patriarchy? What do you think that we're going to have to be prepared to battle against?
So you're going to have to, the main thing that's going to have to battle is your emotions. Because there's always going to be someone that's going to talk about you. There are always going to be people with different perspectives, different mindsets, different viewpoints. And, sometimes you got to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions. So if you're out here in this world where everybody's always got something to say, they even talk about Jesus. Like, if you're really out here trying to go for it, you can't take anything personal because that has nothing to do with that person. You're on this road to better yourself. So actually with stepping into that role, it comes with a lot. But as long as you stay grounded and you stay focused on what it is that you're wanting to do, okay, somebody could be talking about you and how bad your business is. The next person that walks around, they could buy 100 t-shirts. Then boom, there you go. You could probably have someone that's talking bad about your podcast. No, this is not it. Whole time you got somebody that's wanting to sign. But like to actually help them with their own podcast because they heard you and you inspired them. Yeah. So it doesn't matter about the next person walking. It matters about you and your path and you walking. You have to be strong. Like your mind has to be strong in your emotions because this is a tough world that we live in. This is a wicked, evil world that we live in. Nobody wants to see the next person doing better than them. And if you have people in your life that actually support you and want to see you do good, keep those people in your life. Because there are a lot of people out here that don't even want to see their own people succeed. Yeah. And those are your homies. You don't even want to see them succeed. You're built different in my eyes, then. Because you don't want to build your homie up. You don't want to be there to be with your homie to succeed. Because honestly, that's a lack of something that you had in your household. Right.
And in my book, once I get paid, we're all getting paid. I think it's interesting that you brought up emotions because I think that also is what I'm worried about when it comes to the downfall of my own business. Because as you know, adrenaline will only leave my body when I'm angry, when I'm frustrated with anything through crying. And I feel like as soon as a woman cries, it opens up everyone to be like, see, we knew she couldn't do it. And we knew she wasn't shit. And we knew that she couldn't handle this or hang with the big boys or all of it. And I never want to weaponize like emotions for myself. Like I never want to get in the headspace where it's like, it's not okay to be frustrated or it's not okay to take a moment and cope with this. I also think that you brought up a really interesting point when it comes to the competition of it all. Like, and the whole like, well, I don't want you to be doing better than I'm doing. I feel like when it comes to the women in my life, they understand when I'm doing well, that means that we're all doing well. I used to have a partner teacher and he used to tell the kids all the time, when Mama Katona is happy, we are all happy. So make Miss Katona happy during your school day, because if she's happy, things will move and we'll all get to be happy.
When you have people like that look up to you and really see, like, if she's happy, I'm happy, that goes to show, like, you play a huge part in their life. And the most humbling experiences that anyone could ever experience, because it's like that you really got someone looking up to you that really cares about, your well-being. They actually care about your happiness. You don't meet a lot of people like that. Right. And I think that plays another role into this wicked world that we live in, because there's a lot of people that's unsure about themselves. There's a lot of people that don't know about themselves. That's why they can't even figure out things through this life. The moment you really start figuring yourself out, you start doing everything for you, I promise that's when your life will get so much better. But if you still out here waltzing in this world, just think you about to just live. Like, I felt like I was a walking corpse because I felt like I didn't know my passion or my purpose in life. You'll never know your true purpose in life, but you know that you're living day to day. So you're meant to be. The moment that you wake up, you're here for a reason. Yeah. The moment you open those two eyeballs and you get up to start your day, that's how you know you're meant to be here still. You may not know your you may not know your passion, you may not know your purpose, but there's a reason that you're here. And not a lot of people can really view it as that, like, I ain't doing nothing with my life. Well, of course you're not doing anything with your life because you're not applying, that work ethic. You're not applying things to help you keep going. You're just staying stagnant.
Well, and the flip side of that, and I think that this is another capitalistic, misogynistic, patriarchal mindset, is we have this idea in our head that it's not okay to struggle. That, like, the first time I have a bad show, that's going to be it for me. They're going to cut me off. The first time that you have a modeling shoot go south or a design not go well with your line, that's it. That's the end of us. And I think that when you honestly can look at yourself and be like, well, struggle is part of the process. Like, I'm allowed to be mad. I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to have an off show. I don't think we see enough of that in the public because money and competition, the patriarchy, capitalism, and pinning one another on one another against one another, it gets to keep people small and it gets to keep people in power powerful. And then we're too busy fighting one another and burning ourselves out because we refuse to admit that we're struggling. Meanwhile, they're just Mr. Amazon is just reaping all of the rewards.
Mm-hmm. And that kills me when there's people that's actually out there working, and then, you know, there's the people that don't work and reap the benefits of what they did. Definitely not. You're not about to take full accountability for something that I actually did.
Right.
And people steal too. That is really mind blowing to me. That's why that trademarking, LLCing your business, making sure your everything is secured, so that way nobody can steal it. Mm-hmm. Nobody can steal anything that you have. Like, I'm getting my stuff trademarked, from my modeling business to me with my clothing brand. Like, there's things that I need to have for me because nobody's about to take credit for what I got going on. Right. That's stupid. Nobody's about to take credit for my brands. Nobody's about to take credit for my work. That's why I feel like I can do everything on my own. But no, bro, you can't. You can't.
Right. So we have, because we're about to wrap up on this hour, we have two traditions on To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. We have to do a big takeaway about how we've grown through this experience. And then we got to take all of that growth and chug it back out into the collective energy and hope for something through a manifestation. So would you like me to go first with my big takeaway of what it means to be women who are trying to start their brand, or do you want to go first?
No, you can go.
All right. So I think when it comes to this whole process with the podcast and exploring content creating and producing shows, I have grown so much when it comes to what I believe I'm capable of. So like so much of my life, like we talked about me being rooted in fear of not being able to make enough money or be successful or like be a disappointment. And I was always meeting expectations that weren't my own. And now I'm finally ready to take the risk to do the work that actually matters to me and get to build it on my terms.
So my takeaway of it is, as soon as I started to model, I felt more confident in myself. Mm-hmm. So I feel as if I have that confidence and that light shining within myself, everyone is going to see it. So confidence plays a huge part, and that's why it's so uncomfortable to model, because it's sometimes I don't know, but you're in front of the camera and every move is going to be a shot and make your next move the best move. So I feel as if me staying confident in myself and knowing that I could become one of the best models around, I know that for a fact.
And you got what it takes. We got this. We know it. And then and then I think for my manifestation, so when I think about what needs to happen next and what energy I need to put out into the universe, when I think about you and I and our futures, I know without a doubt that it's going to be bright no matter what we're doing. So I'm putting all my positivity into hoping that you and I keep making the connection we have strong. So I always have your support and you always have mine, because we're on our way to the top.
Okay, so the manifestation that I put out is that we remain grounded in our minds, to know that our mind is stronger than our emotions, that we know that we're going to make it, that we know that our dream life is closer than what we feel, what we believe in. And then too, we know that we're strong, independent women, but then there's someone that could really come in and actually lead. And we actually can accept that man for who he is, because he accepted us for who we are. flaws and all. So I feel as if we stay grounded in our minds, that is what could keep us going.
All right. I like that because that's a good balance. Like I went all the way from like, let's get hyped, let's get it to the top. And you're like, but let's stay true to ourselves and keep it calm.
Yes. You always got to stay true to yourself. Don't never lose yourself. Don't ever lose who you were as an individual, even before you have a partner, even before the stardom. I always remember who you are because this is who you are. Before all this, who were you before? Well, I was this, I was that. I had a podcast. But then what? My whole life changed. It did a whole 360. But as long as you remember who you were before, definitely.
Well, Marchea, I want to thank you for giving me an hour of your time today and for coming on the podcast. I have such love for you. I hope you know that.
Thank you for the opportunity and allowing me to speak. I definitely have so much love for you to allow me to speak my mindset and just allow me to speak.
Yeah, no, that's what the platform is about, giving a voice to anyone who's ever felt like, I've never gotten to talk about this. Damn it.
And I love that.
Make sure
that they give you a platform to speak.
Mm-hmm. Let all of my listeners and anyone who might be listening in the future know where they can find you so they can make sure to see your journey firsthand.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at biglady_dimples with 2 S's too, because my last Instagram got hacked. So now this is a whole new one. On Twitter, you can follow me at Marchea Wiley, Marchea Wiley. Even follow me on TikTok, Big Lady Dimples. I'm on social media platforms, but definitely take heed into my Instagram because honestly, that's one of my biggest social media platforms.
All right. And then tolerators, you get it. You have to make sure to like and subscribe. You have to leave me reviews because I love comments and I love compliments. And then the Instagram is at Men I've Tolerated Pod. My personal Instagram and TikTok is at Natalie K124. Make sure that you're catching us on Fireside every other Monday. So you're getting to chat with me live and take part in all of the activities on there. And hell, maybe you'll get to talk to Mark Cuban one day.
Okay.
Why not? And then, and remember out there, tolerators, not only do I love you, but you don't have to smile through anything you're tolerating, including a small mindset about yourself and what you're capable of because of all of the things that you witnessed when you were younger. Keep dreaming big. Smiles are for joy.